Hello everyone, how are you? How are you? This is the TERRAN LAMP SHOw, episode number 87. OMG, 87. We have been going strong for 87 today. Again, this show is about positivity and love and connecting others. Everyone has a story, including you, and I would love to have you right here on this thing. Oh, it was a pause. I don't know what happened. Okay, if you have a story, I would love to have you on the show. If you know someone who has a story, I would love to have them on the show as well. Make sure you get a hold of me, DM me, message me, however, whatever works for you. I would love to have them on this show. Again, everyone has a story, and I would love to hear from you. What's up, Yash? Thank you so much for joining me. Again, I truly appreciate it. Jay-Z in the house. What's up, Jay-Z? I truly appreciate every episode. This is episode number 80. Jay-Z, I have to have you back on because I'm doing a Where Are They Now? So I will be reaching out to you, by the way, to have you back on the show because I'm doing kind of an episode of Where Are They Now for some people who kicked it off. So again, thank you everyone for joining me. This is the TERRAN LAMP SHOw, episode number 87. Althea, I'll be right there. I see you, girl. I am going to, let's see. I need to, so let's see. I'm putting my Cash App in the comments because, as most of you know, if you it's out of love and kindness, if you'd love to give to heart disease and cancer patients in need, anything from that specific Cash App, put Survivor in the comments, goes towards helping cancer and heart disease patients in need, paying a bill for them. So again, it's not an official 501c3, just out of the kindness of your own heart. This is the TERRAN LAMP SHOw, episode number 87. I'm TERRAN LAMP. All right, let's get my guest in. Yes, Jay-Z, I'll be calling on you. I'll be calling you. For sure. Texting you or something. Some method of communication. Althea? Where are you, girl? I see.
Hey!
There you are.
I was trying to get the dog settled.
I see something. How are you?
Oh, wait a minute. I'm good. Let me just turn. I'm not sure how to do the do not disturb, but I'm going to try and make sure my phone is at least on mute.
That's okay. I don't, you know what? I don't always do that either. I should.
Okay.
I don't know.
Somebody, this is my first live. I told you that.
We can get together. I should do that too. Put my phone on do not disturb, but I don't. I don't know why. It's just, I don't know.
Somebody said that one time.
Yeah, we were on a conference call, and we heard that direction.
Yeah.
Hi, puppy.
I know. Big puppy.
Hit her. Is it
Huh?
boy or girl?
Girl.
She's like, hey.
She's a pretty little pit. My little pit.
She's like, hey, hear me. I have something to say.
I know. Oh yeah, she's very vocal. Look, I do not have. You see, I'm trying to struggle with I told you it's my first live, so.
You don't have what?
Huh?
What do you mean you don't have what? I see you.
I know. It keeps falling.
Oh,
it's sliding, but that's okay. We're gonna work it out. Is it
on the stand or anything?
It would. I have a stand for my iPad, and look, somebody once said something about the behind the scenes of Zoom from home, and it is like makeshift central. So there's books piled on top of stuff, and yeah, okay. So we're gonna see if that works.
You know what? I get it. I have, yeah. I'm in my kitchen, so here we go. This is my.
You know what? Oh my gosh. And I have like a light and that has a holder and I completely forgot.
You have like a ring light that has a holder, right?
Yes. And of course, when I need it, I never use it. Yeah. I completely forgot about it. Huh?
Mine is in my ring light, but the ring light isn't on.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Absolutely.
Whatever works.
But it's so good to see your pretty face.
I know. It's like we talk all the time on the phone. You know what I mean? It's like, oh yeah, we see each other on Zoom, but that hasn't been for like a year or so.
I know.
But you know what? All that we're talking about right now leads us in to what your topic is, about when corporate meets creative and talking about resilience, right? Because we got to get through all this Zoom and Instagram and, all that. Hey, Dina, what's up? I got to have you on the show too, girl. I got to have you on the show. I miss you. How are you? How's Callie treating you? All that good stuff. Okay, so let's get started. This is the TERRAN LAMP SHOw, episode number 87. Thank you so much for joining me. We've been going strong for 87 daggone episodes.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you so much. Man, it was like crazy town. Like when I started, I was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how this is going to work. And now we're 87 episodes in. May 5th.
That's amazing.
Years I've been doing this. Every week, pretty much. I give myself some self-care breaks because I learned that. But yeah. So tell us about your journey. As your corporate meets creative, because we kind of talk about this on our own. And just give us a little bit of journey and give us a little bit about what you'd like to share.
Yeah. So the whole once upon a time, I had fond dreams of being an actress and coming to New York and taking over Broadway. Mind you, I can't sing, but that's all right, though. That's all right. And so,
too, by the way.
Huh?
This is my protein shake, by the way.
All right. All good for protein. Yeah, so I moved to New York, and I have always had a passion for the arts. And I've always felt this internal conflict because I'm like, okay, if I really believe that I had something, do I go full force and full time and pursue the arts? But the idea of not having a place to lay my head at night, not knowing how my bills are going to get paid, that insecurity is probably the thing that held me back. I studied engineering when I was in school, and part of that was, I guess maybe I'm always like, okay, I need a plan B, and I don't know. I feel like life is just a journey of, excuse the pig toy noises in the background. That's my dog. But life is a journey of, it's like decision making that we have to do. And I've always felt like, okay, when all is said and done, and maybe this is the resilience in me, when all is said and done, I have to find a way to be okay. I have to find a way to make sure that I'm taking care of myself. Mm-hmm. And so, now after 2 years into a pandemic, 2.5 years, if people consider us still being in a pandemic, still kind of trying to find that resilient spirit. But back in the day, I went through engineering, studied engineering, because I was like, okay, I need a plan B in case, just in case. Yeah. And so when I moved to New York, it was in pursuit of possibly my plan A or my plan B. Mm-hmm. And I fortunately have had opportunities to pursue both of them. And I infuse both of them whenever I have an opportunity. In fact, I'm in the process right now of preparing for a theater festival that happens every other year in North Carolina. So I feel like I have been corporate meets creative my entire life, and giving myself permission to kind of do both. And I think that I had to kind of come to terms with being okay with not going all in one direction. Many years later, what that's taught me is that I have interest in multiple spaces. And it's not just about being a performer. It's not just about being a creative, but it's someone who also has a business mind and is interested in leadership and development and all these other things. And so I think that sometimes we beat ourselves up because we feel like maybe we haven't kind of served ourselves in some way. But in hindsight, I feel like I'm serving my entire self.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. I'm still a work in progress, to be quite honest, and trying to come to terms with, life, all the ups and downs that happen. Yeah, so corporate meets creative, finding ways to kind of exercise yourself in the spaces where you are.
Yeah, I think I totally understand what you're saying. I actually had a conversation, I don't know how long ago, but a little bit ago, just understanding and realizing that I can do what I like in the space that I am.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And even if that's non-traditional, that's okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I've always been that non-traditional person who's trying to do things that are uncommon in the spaces where I am in order to serve myself. I went through engineering. And most people kind of have an idea of what engineers look like, what engineers are like. I met a lot of creative engineers. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I'm realizing that I'm not such an anomaly in this space. So when I was in engineering, I loved performing. There were parts of me that were like, maybe I should have majored in fine arts. How did I find a way to exercise that in the space that I was? I auditioned. I tried out for the Miss Engineering pageant it was at Howard. So I won Miss Engineering.
Yeah.
And went on to, I was supposed to compete as Miss Howard, but that's another story. But I found a way to kind of exercise my creative pursuits and the opportunity to get on stage in the engineering building.
Yeah.
Who'd have thought it?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's it. I always tell myself too, I tell this story a lot. When I was in grade school, and I have these report cards to show it, I used to get in trouble for talking. Trouble. Oh my gosh. My mom just shut up,
Now you talk for a living.
And now I talk for a living. And now I get paid to talk. Oh,
absolutely.
Talk. I love what I do because now what I used to get in trouble for gets me paid.
Yes, absolutely. I understand.
And I tell my husband even all the time, I tell him, you can probably relate to this. He said, Taryn, you ask a lot of questions. I'm like, I ask questions all day long.
How are we trained? I mean, right now we're going through questions that sell.
Yeah.
How do we ask the right questions?
All I do is ask questions. So
yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
That's how I make my living.
Absolutely. I understand.
It's interesting, that type of thing, but being able to be, and I think one thing is too, one of the things you mentioned is, being able to be okay with it, right? And that's the resilience part. It's not letting yourself get so, discouraged by not being like in that box, being okay with being who you are in the box that you're in, as opposed to kind of putting you in the box and making something else,
It's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting that you say that, because when I think about myself, I think that I am not someone who fits inside of any box, but yet I have beat myself up over the years for not fitting into the box. I remember there was a show that I was working on, and there were some other actors on it that, and I've always kind of been able to maintain a corporate job while I have been pursuing performing. And there were some other actors who also went to college they didn't go to college with me, but we all went to the same school. They were in fine arts. And I always felt like they judged me because I didn't pursue fine arts, as if I was playing it safe. And I beat myself up about that. And so it kind of took a while for me to kind of come to terms with, I'm creating a life for myself where I can do all the things. And I have never fit into a box. When I was an engineering student, I didn't fit into a box. I was sneaking off to the fine arts building. When I was in sales, I was sneaking, I've never, in sales, I don't fit inside of a box. They probably want me to, but I just don't. And I think that that's how I have excelled. I think that what it's allowed me to do is not have expectations for people, not expect that people are going to show up in a particular kind of way. So I try to take people as they are, without judgment. So that's something that I have to continue to work on, to kind of just see people as they are and not judge them.
Yeah, and I think, so we have a comment, in life, we only need the right questions. The answers need to be found, you know? So
yeah,
I think that's true, Yash, you know, the right questions. And to your point, what you were saying as well with, you know, I think that not fitting in the box and that giving yourself permission to not fit in the box also differentiates you. You know what I mean? It differentiates us, right? Different people as the things we don't fit into. You know, like, you know, I give the good example of, you know, when I shave my head completely, and shaved that in solidarity with my mom, from me having her having cancer, shaved my head. And I used to have long hair, so I went from, you know, long hair to no hair. Like, for some people, that was one time they saw me, I had long hair. Next time they saw me, I had no hair. So I know people were like, what the heck? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Corporate space and in my personal life. But then it became something that made me unique, that I embraced, right? And now I was actually talking to a customer today, and she has really, really pretty red hair. And I was like, your hair is so pretty. I was like, I know you get that all the time. And she's like, yeah, most people don't even know my name. They just know me with the lady with the red hair. And I was like, well, that's okay. They know me with the lady with no hair. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they know me, you know?
Yes.
And
you do not blend in. You stand out.
Different.
And in life, isn't that what we want? To stand out. We want to be remembered. We want to be that one that somebody remembers.
Yeah. So it's always good. And I think being, you know, the resilient, creative, corporate, there's something wrong with those three words, even though you wouldn't traditionally put them in the same sentence, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel that you probably found, you know, okay, let's talk about this. Let's talk about maybe some obstacles in that. But what has that looked like for you? Because I'm sure there's some times where you're like,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, all the time. I mean, the whole idea of not fitting into a box. As you pursue opportunities, people expect you to show up a certain way. They expect you to sound a certain way. I have to come to terms with not sounding how everybody else sounds, or being okay and confident enough to claim my individuality and to really own it. And so there are obstacles. I mean, there are obstacles in trying to get to that next job. If I don't look a certain way, if I don't sound a certain way. And to an extent, I've probably, and I think this sometimes is the stigma of Black women, that you feel like you have to over prepare. You have to be so good. You know, we hear it all the time. You have to be twice as good in order to be seen as, you know, equal or acceptable. And so you go above and beyond. Though there are obstacles, I mean, you know, it's so complicated, because as I think about it, internally, I was like, it's like a mind, I want to say mind fuck, but it's like, you know.
I can't say anything.
Okay. Internally, it does something to you when you tell yourself that, because it's as if to say, how I am is not good enough. And so you're always, and that's probably, you know, one of my insecurities that I continue to try and work on. It's funny because I'm kind of feeling emotional as I talk about it, because I think that for a long time, and sometimes I look at myself as a late bloomer, because I have spent the time and energy trying to prove to myself that I'm good enough. And I think the world continues to kind of, you know, challenge that. And so if you're asking about obstacles, there are internal obstacles in terms of me feeling like I'm enough as I am. It's funny, I went to a conference last week. I think I mentioned that to you. And one of the things they said is, before you walk into a room, say to yourself 5 times, I am good enough, I am enough, I am enough, I am enough. And it's like we have to boost ourselves up to enter the world feeling confident in our space. And so,
which is like interesting. I'm like, really? Like, I have to tell
I
you,
know.
like, really? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I really have to like get my hype song onto myself just to enter this room. Like,
Yeah.
is it really like that? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. It's like you got to be ready for battle, ready for battle. All right, all right, all right, I'm ready. I'm ready to walk into this room and introduce myself.
Yeah. Like, really? Really I'm doing this? You know?
Yeah. See, this is my training. This is my bodybuilding. My bodybuilding is internal.
Yeah, but yeah, it's interesting the way you have to do that, right? Like, so, oh, you got it.
Yeah.
Oh, out there, you got it. Okay.
Right.
I'm like, I'm not, you know, gosh, you know, it is interesting the way you have to kind of hype yourself up.
Yeah.
Crazy. So I just think that's interesting, but I do think there's like, it's a good thing, like I said, to be able to say those 3 words in a
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Recognize that that's okay, you know?
Yeah.
And to recognize, and I think luckily, I think you're starting, and you can tell me if I'm right or wrong, you're starting to see it a little bit more kind of the blend, because people are starting to share the things that they may do outside of corporate, right? They're starting.
Absolutely.
Especially I think during COVID, I mean, that was a lot.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of people in a different light, like, you know, these people are moms, these people are dads, these people are uncles.
Absolutely.
Everybody's human. And it gave people like blend those lines a little bit, or share to people.
Yeah.
Like maybe they paint, or maybe they write, and that's okay.
Or play music.
Yeah.
Like we just had this challenge to submit videos. It was a Radical You challenge, and people were sharing their creative talents, and then people had to kind of vote on their favorites. There were people who were musicians playing, like, you know, electric guitar, and people who were singers. And so and I hope that as a body of people, we are moving towards accepting and seeing people not as just one thing.
Mm-hmm.
And because for a long time, for years, in fact, for years, I kept a line between my personal and private. There were some people who knew knew about my work as an actor. It was a handful. And it was like a big deal when I remember I invited some customers, some people I knew professionally. I invited them to one of my shows, and I was like, oh my gosh, what are they going to think of me? They're not going to take me seriously. But what I'm realizing, and I'm giving myself permission, and maybe, you know, maybe my journey is to give myself permission. But you know, it took me a while to kind of start to share things about myself personally.
Yeah.
And the more I share it, the more I own it, the more I'm okay with it, and the more I realize that this is what makes me me.
Yeah.
And it, you know, it keeps me from being bitter about not being where I maybe thought I should be in life. So life is such an interesting journey. Life is such an interesting journey.
It's just like sharing your social media, right? You're like, oh my gosh,
yes.
You know, and you're thinking, oh, who's going to look at my social media?
Absolutely. I know. And what are they going to think? They're going to start to see me as a whole person?
Yeah.
I know. I have a friend now who actually still to this day, if she works with somebody, she will not befriend them on social media. And it's funny because I work with her and I'm personal friends with her. And I'm always kind of getting her and I'm like, yeah, we're not friends on Facebook, you know, but and I guess there's a part of me that's kind of taken that wall down and started to open up myself to people seeing that other side of me.
I mean,
but yeah.
Well, you know what? See, the other side of me isn't bad. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Like I save cats in my backyard. Like, really? Is that?
I know.
You know,
I'm not working a pole.
You know, like what is it? You know, I don't do anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What I do is not that dramatic. You know what I mean? Or really. So
right. It's just I have a life outside of work. Doesn't everybody, like you said, some people are moms, some people, rescue cats. Hey, I have a life outside of work.
Yeah, and I think that's what, I mean, a little bit of COVID taught us, just seeing people in their human side, seeing people in their
Yeah.
creative side,
Yeah.
literally at the same moment. You're seeing people in their corporate side. You're seeing because you're seeing, I know some people, that you'll see their backgrounds and it'll be like you said, a guitar or, some they'll share with you
Or how about this? The kids jumping into the frame.
Yeah.
There's some people, like I have one coworker who his kid is, it's not uncommon now for his kid to be sitting on his lap during a meeting.
Yeah. And everybody's okay with it and it's all good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that's so I guess if there's someone out there and they're kind of in our last few minutes, debating, should I collide these worlds? Should I not collide these worlds? Or maybe they're thinking, should I? Is there anything you would tell them, a bit of encouragement, advice? Is there anything you would tell them? And how are you maybe building community around being open and being all three of those things at the same time?
I think that as I start, in terms of being all three of those things, and I think that, the thing that I would tell somebody is honor your whole self. Mm-hmm. When you put a wall up between parts of yourselves, mm-hmm. you close off some of yourself. Mm-hmm. And so I think that as we are whole human beings, and you never know what gift is going to rise to the surface, but if you don't give the attention and the time and the love and the care to all of the parts of you, then you'll never know kind of what the potential is. So I think that I would say, just let yourself live. It's funny because I know we talked initially about resilience, but I think that when we give ourselves permission to live and honor the gifts that God has given us, that's when we will kind of, I guess, realize our full potential and overcome obstacles. And, there are times where things aren't going well in one space, but then you lean into the other space. But if you close off part of that, then you don't have that to lean on.
Yeah.
And I think that we're just, we're ebbs and flows of life and mm-hmm. energy. And I think that people want to see, and I think, I have people that I know in the corporate space, and I honestly feel like they're attracted to me because of my pursuits in my creative space, because it gives other people permission as well. I know I had a conversation with one friend who, he talked about wanting to play piano, but never really pursuing it. And I was like, take a class, yeah. Because, we want to live fully and be whole human beings and honor all sides of us. We're people who are smart. We are people who like to sing and like to dance and like to live out loud. And even if you're shy, it still gives you an outlet. It's funny because a lot of people think that actors are really outgoing. There's a lot of actors and a lot of comedians who are really shy, but that's their outlet. They give it, so I think we just have to give ourselves permission to show up in all of our glory as whole human beings. I mean, now you've got people who are performers and you know them as performers, but they're also running billion-dollar businesses. Mm-hmm. Jessica Simpson became a singer. What if she always said, well, I'm just a singer, I can't start a business? What if Jessica Alba, who started Honest, what if she said, no, I'm just going to stick to acting? She never would have kind of looked at, oh, what about developing products for, that are healthy for the environment or healthy for kids. Mm-hmm. So I just think that we have to give ourselves permission to live in all of our glory 100%.
Yeah, no, I agree. Give yourself permission to live as a whole human.
Yeah.
As a whole person, your whole self.
As a whole person, because we'll find some really interesting things that we'll discover about ourselves.
And I think that's I think that's a fabulous thing. Give yourself permission to live as a whole human. Okay, Althea, so I tell everybody on the show, if they watch prior episodes, they will know this question. If they did not watch them, they will not. No, about to ask. So this is the test of time.
All right.
So like I said, I save cats in my backyard. That's a whole nother story. But they always say curiosity in cats. It's their thing. So what are you curious about?
I am curious about the potential of life. What could be? What if? What if? I think that's what I'll hold on to. What if?
I love.
What if I speak up? What if I try something new? What if I take a class? What if? What if I decide to go back to school? What if?
I love that. I think I'm going to end on that, folks. I am curious about what if, because that question, let's leave that on the table. Guys, this is the TERRAN LAMP SHOw, episode number 87. Althea, thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to reach out to you in just a second. So good to see you. I'm going to talk to you.
Likewise.
Everybody, we will see you next week on the TERRAN LAMP SHOw. This is episode number 87. I am TERRAN LAMP. See you soon. Be good to yourself and each other. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.